Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. The first one is, of course, Natasha, who's here all the time. She's our resident medium who is very well aware of what happens on the other side and talks to them on a regular basis. And Regen Forsten is with us. He's written the book 3 hours and 33 minutes on the in heaven, I believe. And he is also a hypnotherapist, and he is a disciple of I don't know if disciple's the right word, but you work with Michael Newton and his work, which is taking people into deep hypnosis and talking about life between lives. And in fact, we've got somebody on the line with us that we are going to talk about that actually had a session with you, and that'll be fun. But first, Natasha, how are you today? How was your week?
I'm doing really well. You know, it's been kind of one of those things of riding the ride of what the planets are doing and then pushing us to be, and then at the same time riding the ride of kind of separating myself from all the emotions that are out there, because I know there's quite a few, and my love goes out to everyone who is going through this emotional ride that we're going through right now of can we not, should we not, I want to's, I can'ts, and all those kinds of things. And I just want to say my love goes out to you.
Very good. And Regen, how was your week?
It was great.
Now, you had an interesting Friday this last, didn't you?
Yes.
And tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I had actually, that's Nikaya who's on the line there now. We did a 7-hour session, Life Between Lives.
There wasn't one before. It's okay.
Can you hear me, Nikaya?
Oh yes, I was just telling David there's no echo on this side. Yes,
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, we had a great session. And Nikaya is my first client I've had that's done a second one. I did a session for her about 3 years ago, which was really awesome. And now she was actually helping me by coming in again, to get my certification through the quantum healing hypnosis technique. So we did a little variation of the Michael Newton induction, and it was all about talking to her subconscious, so she could get some stuff right from the horse's mouth, about things in her life. So that was really good. And David, I have a session coming up with him a week from this next Friday, in about, I guess, 10 or 11 days from now. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
So is 7 hours, seems to me like that's a really long time. Is that a long time? Regen?
Well, for me, it went by so fast, it didn't seem like there was enough time.
Really?
Oh, yes. And not only that, but afterwards, I started listening to the tape, and that was incredibly awesome. And I started to remember parts of the session that I hadn't picked up on totally. And then I started reading his book. And this is so strange because the number 3333 came up while I was talking to a friend of mine, and she happened to mention that. And I said, well, that's interesting because those are the numbers on Regen's book. And then, and in fact, as I was doing the reading, I looked up, and I had been tape recording somebody, and there were the numbers again, 3333. So I thought, okay, I'll take a look at that. And I started reading, what is the name of that book? It's a wonderful book. It's called Chicken Soup for the Soul, and I've had it forever.
Oh, sure.
And I opened it up, and he was talking about, the most delightful story about someone who had gone to heaven so to speak, and how to get to heaven. And and it was so odd because that's the same refrain that Regan was echoing in his book. And in fact, I felt so good. I felt so blessed, so good after that session. It lasted for days. And even before I went, the night before I went to see him, I was kind of hesitant. I was like, I'm not sure about this. And I typed in my fears, of intimacy and safety, etc. And in the middle of the night, I got this huge healing of just raindrops of love pouring down on my heart. I just felt so wonderful. I woke up in the morning and I was singing. And so I knew that it's just been awesome. It's just been such an awesome experience. So thank you for letting me share that.
Oh, you betcha. Now, Natasha, 3333, what's it mean?
Well, I know numbers, but 33333 really, three to me is part of the, community. And it's the unity of things, and it's that kind of coming together. I kind of picture three being the, like a plant, that you have the first year where you plant the plant, and the plant is kind of getting settled in. It's kind of doing the thing. It's a new beginning. 2 is when the roots start growing. And it starts spreading out, and it starts being what it's kind of like going, okay, this is my home. I can get nutrients. I can do what I need to do. And the 3 is when it starts being, fulfillment. That's when usually fruit trees start really producing fruit. It's usually that time when things really start coming together. And so for me, that's what I picture the 3 is that communion of coming together finally, that what we started, what we've contemplated is what's going to come into fruition. And that momentum is starting to go. It's kind of like the show, we started out, now we're kind of getting into momentum where we can start feeling like, okay, here we are. And so that 3 is that kind of community. And 3 is the base of a lot of the new numbers that are important. So 3, 6, and 9. And so it's that basics of coming down into the 3, the 6, and the 9, and the 9's about completion. So if you have those, and the 6 is about home. It's about being home and community, and what are you going to do with your home? And so it's kind of that 3 different steps into, how are we going forward? The 6 is about home, and then 9 is about how are we going to bring them all together to bring completion. That's what I'm getting.
See, that I told you you'd get something. So Regan, let's introduce David. Now, Nakaya and David, are you in the same room? Hello.
I have to unmute myself.
Oh, okay.
We're in the same apartment, but at opposite ends.
Oh, okay, because that's why you were getting the echo, because your phones were real close together, or closer together, or whatever. So Regan, introduce David for us.
Well, David, I've met a few years ago, just momentarily, and he's been a good friend of Nakaya's for a long time. And David was what a sweet guy he was. He drove Nakaya, and he had to figure out something to do around town for 7 hours. and I hear it was an okay day for you anyway. Didn't you kind of explore Marin County, David?
I drove over to the coast, and my friend and I went for a short walk up on the hills, and he met cows for the first time, which was quite an experience for him. And he was barking. He's my old friend Bruno. And then we ended up much further down the coast than I thought, and found a way back through the hills. And then I went to a bookstore that now finally bookstores are starting to open again, which is really nice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Down in Corte Madera, and place called Book Passage, in case you ever want to check it out.
Oh, that's a great store. That's a great store. Yeah.
So it was a good day.
Good. Yeah. Well, thank you for your patience. That's being a real true friend there to do that for her. So thank you.
Well, now we've got the two folks. Now, Nakaya, who was under hypnosis for 7 hours. I'd like her to kind of, if you would unmute yourself, kind of explain the experience a little bit of what you felt and what you learned in that in your session with Regen?
Okay. I don't know if I was under hypnosis for 7 hours. What was I, Regen?
Well, no, it was just the that part was about 2 hours.
Right.
The rest we were talking and preparing for your 2 hour session. Yeah, I think it's 7 hours. That would be like a record. But yeah, usually with the Life Between Lives thing, like in a 4 to 6 hour session, about half of it is just getting to know the client, because they have a list of things they want to ask on the other side, or if they have health issues, we want to find out what those are all about, and just getting prepared. And then we have like a bathroom break, and then come back. And actually, Nakia was great. She brought some food with her, so we were able to have a little snack and kind of keep our energy up. And then we did I sent you your recording. I don't know if you got a download yet. It came from WeTransfer.
Yeah.
Because
right. Thank you. I did get it, but my phones are pretty well, what is the word? Filled up. So
Yeah.
I was actually going to go to Emeryville today and see if I could transfer it. And also I have too much stuff in storage right now. So and that's kind of what's happening with this whole entire past life regression thing. It's, we store a lot of stuff in our consciousness from past lives, is what I'm learning. And then we can't move forward. We get stuck. And so here I am, my phones are both stuck. And and I'm like, oh, what? But I'm getting the most incredibly brilliant insight into what I need to do here now. And I'm so excited. I'm like a kid. I'm just jumping up and down. And and I had the patience. I tried for 4 hours today to get certain apps to correspond, and I know what I need, and I need to go back in and I need to redo, how it is. This is what we're constantly doing as souls. We come here because we come here to redo or to amp up, right? Or to let go of data, or to move along. And that's exactly what I've been doing all day. And I'm not even grumpy or crazy about it. I'm really happy. Regen, I don't know how you did it, but in fact, it was just like, I felt so loved. I felt like, oh my God, this person's giving me 4 hours of total attention. I mean, how often do you get that? I was thinking that later on, how great I felt. And my dog and my friend are so happy because I haven't growled at anybody since I've been back. I haven't yelled or screamed or bitten anyone. And it's transformed a part of me that I didn't know how the heck I was going to get past that. So I didn't even realize that until I noticed it last night. I thought, wow, this is interesting. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, Nakia is, I would put her in the category of somnambulist, and she's able to go into trance very, very easily. And I think that's because of her years of meditation and I known her for a while. She does a lot of spiritual work on her own. I was wondering, maybe Natasha, if you're willing, Natasha, maybe, because I haven't told Natasha anything about you, and maybe Natasha can pick up something you might want to share that you're picking up about Nakia and her life's journey.
Well, it's just, well, for one, she didn't really give me permission, so I don't tap in unless she gives me permission.
You have to give her permission, Nakia.
No problem at all. I'm really happy.
It's just one of those things that you're here as a guest, and there's those things that I get the whispers of, but at the same time, until I get those permissions. So I'm a medium. I do a lot of work in the past lives. I do a lot of work with like what Regen does, but I do it with my own knowledge, and I actually get a lot of clients who say the same about me. I don't know. I just feel so light now, because we've transformed so much, and that's the thing is that it's so funny right now how life and Nakia, it's not necessarily about you necessarily, but it's funny how life right now is mirroring so many things that we need to work on. Kind of like she mentioned about her phone being so clogged up. Well, how clogged up are we spiritually, emotionally, and physically, that we're needing to let go? And I have heard so many people when they've been aware of it, breaking through some really difficult moments. And it's almost like they've shot out of the racing gates and said, here I am, let's go for it. And I'm just so excited when people go there, because it is about releasing. And it is about releasing our past lives and about this life. I consider yesterday a past life, type of thing, so it's about releasing a lot of those angsts and energies that we've had. And I can say that a lot of it has been from your parenting and your family history and a lot of the lineage. I'm going to call it the lineage of what you've grown up with that has just weighed you down for so many years. And that's what basically this COVID scenario has asked us to do, is about waking up to what is our truth. Honor what our ancestors did, honor what they have, but really, do I have to live it on a moment-to-moment basis? Do I, in a healthy eye, need to live on that? And that's one thing that I feel like you've released, is a lot of that ancestral, because I see you with a samurai behind you with a big regalia of going into war. And, he's saying that you're done with the war.
Oh, thank God.
You're done with it. And it's not necessarily the war out here. It's the war in here that makes the war out here. Does that
I
make
can
sense?
do that. Oh, totally. Absolutely.
So releasing the war in here is going to release the war. And I can say that to anybody. Remember, half the war is here. And that's what the ripple effect, the mantra, what life is mirroring for you is the war outside of you. And good job, because he's doing the whole for you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, that's wonderful. I love the way you say it. Yes, that's really perfect, and it corresponds to things that I've been picking up on for the last 24 hours. So thank you.
Yes, and keep it going. And really, I'm going to mention this to you, sweetie, that you're going to have some things that, as we have the highs up and the low lows, that you're always going to have, there's sometimes when I'm really positive in the morning, I'm really low in the afternoon. We're going to have those opposites, dark and light. So when you have those darknesses, okay, when you kind of come off the high, remember, you can always go back to what Regen and you did.
Thank you so much.
And metaphorically, you can go back to that. So then you can balance out the high and the low. But when you go into the low, remember, look at it as, what is this here to teach me? What is the shadow that is trying to show itself? What is that old belief that is trying to sneak back in that I need to look at and say, oh no. Okay, so I can see that you have this back door that things are going to want to sneak in, because old beliefs, old traditions, old knowings have a way of kind of, it's that stray dog that just won't leave. It's muddy and it's icky, but it needs to be loved. Those animals need to be loved, even though they're icky and they're smelly. And so say to it, thank you very much for being here. Thank you. I appreciate you. Let's give you a bath and clean you up and shift you to what you need. Does that make sense as a metaphor?
That's exactly what I told my dog today. I said, okay, you haven't had a bath since you've been with me, but guess what? It's time.
So I love how the universe just kind of circles things around so that you can kind of get the story of what it really was about.
Yes.
So look for the mirrors in your life that are sharing what you should be doing yourself. And I'm not saying shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I'm saying those shoulds of look. Oh, I should look maybe. Oh yeah, that's what's calling to me to look at. So I'm saying the should as an calling more than it is a shoulda, coulda, woulda. Does that make sense?
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, yes. And that word mirror came up because I wanted to get into this particular app, and there was the word mirror on it. And I thought, and now you're talking about it. It's just this has been an incredible 36 hours, just incredible.
Like I said, the universe right now is giving us so many confirmations, so many synchronicities, so many things that are showing us that we could be working with, navigating through. It's kind of like for me that I was talking with a best friend saying boundaries, and here I got a phone call on my phone or on my house phone talking about those robocalls about your social security number. And we cracked up laughing because what is the most boundary that I need is with my social security number. You know, so it's like there's all these mirrors that are coming up for us that we need to say, huh. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Yes, and they can be good mirrors too, you know, like that's what I'm realizing is mirroring something that I dropped a while ago, and now I'm picking it up with at full steam ahead, like you said, something I've wanted to do, but I just kind of let it go, and it's just coming in full bore. It's like, do this. You love this. You love this so much. You have no idea how much you love this. Yeah, just like a little kid. I'm like, oh, good. I do. I love it. And you know, wow, what a gift. You know, do the thing you love for to create abundance. What a concept. Wow.
Well, and that's what the universe is, this COVID thing is really trying to get us to say is, what do you need to go back that's in your heart so that you can move forward? And it's because we're done with the drudgeries, you know, and it's bringing out those things. I've heard so many people say, I had a chance to really look at a book that I was starting to write. Or, you know, I got a chance to really play with some of those apps that I was liking and I started making my own. You know, it's like there's just these things, and it's funny because you said drop, and then what did I almost do? I knocked over my thing and then almost spilled my water. So, you know, but again, synchronicity. So good job, sweetie.
You know, Regan, if I could just kind of interject here, because we've been doing this for a little while now, and everybody that I have come in contact that works with you has got this embarrassingly happy smile on their face because of what you did for them. It's pretty amazing what you are able to put together for folks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not me. It's just this process. It's like when people kind of get in touch with that other side, you know, more light kind of comes in. And so it, you know, kind of, for some people, it's a little difficult for 2 or 3 months because that light comes in and wants to change a whole bunch of things in their life that weren't working. So they have a lot of, and like Natasha, she's got a lot of work to do now that she's realizing all this. She still has to, you know, get herself a little courage up to kind of move forward. Because I was picking up with her somehow or another. Maybe I'm not like Natasha, where I see things really, really clear, but I was picking up with Natasha that she's on the verge of just really changing. You know, she's got a whole bunch of life left, and it's like time to just let go of all that old baggage and all those ways of thinking, and to get out there. She could do so. I even talked to her about maybe she could even be doing what I'm doing, because she's got this real good closeness to the other side. Kind of, I've always seen that. So who knows what she'll be doing. But
friends too on the island. I live in Alameda, and I've already told them about this workshop. But so many things went, you know, all over the place that I guess you guys are going to be here next Monday too, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they'll
For the foreseen future, we don't have an ending yet on Mondays.
No, and it's really cool to watch some of this go on for people like you. Now, in your hypnosis session, did you have a chance to talk to your counsel on the other side?
Well, this is really interesting because I was told to come back to like a landing spot between lives, where I make decisions about what I want to have happen next, and where I actually did land next. And so I thought, well, this should be interesting. And it landed on a carousel. I landed on a circus tent and a carousel, which was like, what? And but it was perfect. And I started laughing because it was so odd. And I love carousels. And I had been thinking about painting horses. A friend of mine moved to Reno, Nevada recently, and there's wild horses everywhere. And that was just another like ding. And I have this book on painted horses. And then the strangest thing, the guide that showed up had a red nose. I was describing him to Regan. He's got a red nose. And my goodness, he looks like a clown. And he was dressed like a clown. So I'm talking to my guide who looks like a clown. And it turns out that he's my old friend. This is so funny, who was a comedian. He loved making people laugh. And my girlfriend's kids, when they found out that he had translated, that's what I call moving on to the next plane. They said, oh, he was so wonderful. He always used to make us feel good. He would make us laugh. He would tell jokes. He just had this open-hearted policy. And so I was thinking about that. And I was reading Regan's book, and all of a sudden I come to this part, which I didn't realize, but Regan went to a clown school. He went to something, a school for clowning or whatever. And I just broke into laughter. Like, what are the odds that my friend Steve Keating would show up dressed as a clown?
Yes,
I don't know.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It's, and more will be revealed, because it's funny. I realized I didn't get all of the stuff, of the threads, to come into my conscious mind at the time. And what's happening is, as I'm reviewing it and looking at this book, the threads start to, they start to wind together, and they start to make a tapestry. So I'm very excited. And also the book, I'm so glad you gave me that book, Regan, because
sure.
The book kept me, how can I say it, satellited or steadfast to that consciousness. And not only that, but it even opened me up further to the consciousness. And I thought, geez, if I had read this before, I might have known more consciously what was happening. But it doesn't matter. It comes in when it comes in. It comes in at the time it needs to come in. And it was more verification. Like yesterday, I invited 2 people to be speakers at a meeting that I'm a seeker for. And I didn't realize I had invited 2 of them to show up on the same day. Well, that was fun. And one of them spoke. And then later on, the other one said, I thought I was supposed to be the speaker today. And she said, thank God I wasn't the speaker, because my sister is going through COVID. And she burst into tears. And it was the most wonderful experience, because for her and for the rest of us, because she wouldn't have been there, and she wouldn't have had that support and that consciousness that just came to her. And so I realized, okay, I was the instrument for doing this, but I'm not the instrument. I am the instrument, but there's a higher power. There's a consciousness that I'm simply trying to direct my intentions around, and so I could let it go really easily, and she was grateful for it too. But we have to pass over a threshold before we get to the point where we're not beating ourselves up every time we're used to move something along on this valley of tears, fears, and laughter.
Well, it's a great experience, and I'm glad you're in the middle of it. And Regan, I'm thoroughly impressed with you, young man. You're doing really good, as well as Natasha. And by the way, we have David with us, and we're not going to let him escape alive either. So, David, David, it's time to talk to you and find out what do you want to achieve with your meeting with Regan this coming Friday.
Well, it's a week from Friday. It's after
Yeah.
Okay.
after the holiday, and it actually is the day after my birthday, and
Great time.
so I'm going to be 69, but in a lot of ways I feel like I'm still trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life after I graduated from college 40 years ago with a history major and worked in a store and so forth. And I'm currently working for Amazon, so I'm not exactly a raging success. And
oh no, hold on, you stop that right now. Natasha, I'm gonna let her beat you up for a minute. Go ahead, Natasha.
No.
You worked in it on a computer, David, for 11 years for a company.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have my ups and downs. Yeah.
Natasha?
Yet at the same time, though, those ups and downs is what called life.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're not meant to be someone or to do something. We're meant to be someone. And so I bet you during that path that you can look back and who did you touch during those years? Who did you interact with? How did you emotionally, physically, and spiritually grow? How did you do all those? So success needs to be redefined. You're not the old style of what success is, that I've worked at so many years of a job. I've done so many things. I have a pension, so I'm now successful. No, 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 no. It's about being fulfilled in who you are. So I want you to go back and during those times and fulfill yourself up a little bit more so that you can know that you were successful, even though at that minute in time you only had that much information to do what you needed to do. My dad gave me a mantra and it saved me through taking care of my mom with Lou Gehrig's disease, all those other years of being a parent. At this time, at this moment in my life, I have this much information to do this choice. Tomorrow, I'll have other information. A year from now, I'll have other information that gives me better choices. But back then, I didn't have them. I only had this information. And so at that time, where you're at, you made the best choice you could with what you had. So I want you to put that punishment stick away, please. Okay,
Well,
please.
if I can
And say, I was successful in my own way.
Okay, well, the reason that was on my mind is earlier today I got 2 different phone calls from 2 different wolves. You know, those wolves that that want to know why I'm late in making a certain payment and so forth and so on, and you know those people. And
Yes.
so those were disturbing calls. But if I can, I think I can say like 4 things I can that have happened in my life that I can just describe them real briefly, if that would be okay.
Sure.
First off, I've almost died twice, and the more recent time I was a victim of a drive-by shooting on a freeway in Oakland, and my friend who was sitting next to me, the bullets passed through her and into me, so they didn't kill me, but she had to be put down. She was a Basenji, a dog. And was Nakaya's dog at the time. And but the other time, which I don't know if Nakaya, if you know about this, I was hiking in the Sierras in 1977 with some friends, and we got caught in a lightning storm, and I was hit by lightning and pulled out of my body, and I was like floating up in the air. And what I remember about the experience was saying to the universe, I'm not ready. I don't want to leave, you know. And I felt what I've always described as a hand pushing me back in my body.
Mhm.
But at that time I was kind of this, well, I had a relationship with this plant. Is what I mean. And so it turned into a party story instead of like a deep experience. Okay. You know, I was a deadhead and I was all that stuff.
You had a good time though, didn't you?
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it was not so good, but sometimes it was really good. And let's see. The other things I wanted to say was I've set foot in 50 different countries. I traveled around the world. Was it 9 years ago? South America, Africa, India, Vietnam, all these places. I did miss the government-sponsored trip to Vietnam 50 years ago, thank God. But that took some doing. But I was there 10 years ago. And
To visit.
so there's that. And then I've had this very, very, very complex story in my head that I've been trying to put together and write down for years. And it's something like taking Tolkien and modern left-wing politics and cramming them together in this in
Wow.
the story of a non-existent country that you know, has got its act together much better than the real countries in the world. And
Tolkien.
I'm sort of in a period of inspiration around some aspects of that story.
Mhm.
And as far as the career, I spent, you know, I've gone through lots of different blind alleys, but one place I spent close to a decade was working the night shift at a couple of different convalescent hospitals and watching over people as they got ready to, as Nikaya calls it, translate.
Oh yeah,
So-
you were a nurse, right? You're a nurse.
I was RN in those days, yeah.
Mhm.
Until it ended disastrously. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's a lot of me.
So, and then Natasha.
Yeah, David, when we,
Oh, go ahead, Regan.
I was just going to say, David, yeah, when we do your session, see, this is great because we can, if we get you to the the soul level and you get to kind of blend to your higher self up there, you know, we can ask questions like, you know, why did you have to go through that shooting? You know, what was the purpose of you going through that, of almost being killed? And also the lightning striking, you know, those are things you can just get a little answers. And what if you know, most of my clients, a lot of times you'll get answers and then you go, oh, okay. And then everything kind of gels, you know, you kind of just put everything in place. It's like a final piece that helps you make some sense. So we'll give that a go when you're under.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, David, a couple things struck me here. 3 things, actually. One is, how many people do you know that have got shot on the freeway in Oakland? Number 1. Number 2, how many people do you know that have been struck by lightning? And so that makes you a very special man. And number 3, when are you going to write the book?
Thank you.
I want a date where you can come back on the show and you can say that you've started it.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
Natasha, have you any thoughts?
Well, I don't want to interrupt the session and put any preconceived ideas about what he why he did come here. That I don't want to take that away from the neutrality of it. You know, right now he's kind of a clean slate for that. So I would like to, if he would like, you know, because I'm getting taps, but that's, you know, it's not for me to take away from the journey. You know, we are all here to do things, but really, you know, you've had a couple of these doorways to really enlighten yourself, and you've done a good job, but it's about that voice. It's about speaking the truth of that I am one that deserves to be here and I'm worthy to be here and that kind of thing. So I don't want to go too deep into it, but it is about trusting yourself in a different way. I got to stop myself here. Sorry.
He's made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. He really has.
I was gonna mention that is because you talked about a lot of things, a lot of doings, a lot of places you went, and a lot of things you did and career wise, and that has nothing to do with anything. What has to do with how you act and how you treat people on a day-to-day basis and how you help people get from here to there. And I got to tell you, your experience of getting hit by lightning and ending up outside your body with a near-death experience, that should have been that. I'm sure that enlightened you to a great degree about what happens on the other side, and that that the other side is real. Yes.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
You'll know when you write your book. Your book is all about the other side, David, isn't it? Although he might know that. He might not know that.
We don't mean to put you in like the psychic car wash here. So we'll kind of let you be a little bit, but
Beautiful.
but bless you, young man. You are a dynamic soul, and you've got a lot left to do. And your work with Regen is going to be nothing short of spectacular.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And it's about trust. It's that, just trusting that vulnerable part of you that wants to say, I'm here.
Now what?
So
I'm here. Now what?
Exactly. Now, Regen, I wanted to ask you a little bit about on Sunday. By the way, there's quite a little stir coming our way about the show that we're going to do on Sunday morning, and
Sorry.
and that is.
Nakia, can you mute yourself, please?
Please.
Can you mute?
That's part of the stir. Is that part of the stir? All that sound?
Yes.
I had to get my wire out of the other room. But are you doing a show on Sunday?
We do, yeah. I'm doing a show on Sunday, and we're celebrating bus drivers. And Regan's going to come on, and in fact, Regan's going to talk about short-term stress with using EFT. And I was wondering, Natasha, what if we have you on like at 11 o'clock or after 11 o'clock, what type of short-term stress things can you tell a bus driver?
Wow.
Well, I can mention things like how that when we do have short-term stress, how we do not release them a lot of times, and that they are something that we just kind of brush over because it's like, oh, that just happened. We kind of give it that short, like fly away, like, it's not important. But actually, those little things are the things that build up, build up, build up, build up, build up. And we need to honor those. And then I can give some little cues on how to, like when I'm done with something that's stressful, I clap my hands real quick around me. And that just kind of releases some of the angst that I have. There's certain things that when we have those even drive-bys, like I was saying, one show that, those windows are huge. And so you can even see somebody driving by and it's not a vision you want to see, or it's something that's happening and that makes a single imprint. And those are those things that, there's many times where I use the word cancel, clear, delete. Like when you don't want something on your computer, you go cancel, clear, delete. And you can like, if I say something negative, oh, cancel, clear, delete, and it nullifies what just happened. And when we do things like that, it really does help us move through those initial impactful moments that happen. They just happen.
Well, and Regen, with the EFT, which we're going to spend quite a little bit of time talking about that, because that it really is something that is grounded in science, and it's very similar to acupuncture, and it's something that somebody can use because to alleviate the short-term stress that is involved with that. So we're looking forward to that on Sunday, and then on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, life clarifications with Natasha is going to be on, and we're going to talk about what on that show, Natasha.
Well, I would like to talk about how that many times when we have that feeling of being alone, that our loved ones are there at birthday parties, at inspirational places, graduations, and they're even there when we're sitting there having a major contemplation, a major life-altering experience in our own beings, and that things that are happening around us nowadays, we have our ancestors there all the time. And it's just amazing how we feel like we're alone, or we forget what the whispers are and that kind of stuff, and or that those feelings. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I know my dad's around. But then we go, it really was. But I wanted to say the tapping, I do the tapping a lot when I do a major meditation. and I have like a new knowing in me, I do that. I tap that new knowing into me, and just tap my body, saying, "Okay, body, you got to integrate it." So I use that EFT a lot. And I don't necessarily do it, here first, there second. I
Yeah.
just kind of go wherever I'm emotionally told to go and spiritually told to go.
Yeah, people intuitively, if they really listen, they know where to tap. I mean, even before EFT, when people would have headaches, a lot of people would find themselves doing this or this or this or something, and their body was intuitively taking them to those areas that they needed to touch or tap. So it's a very, yeah.
Yeah, I saw my father doing that. He would wake up and he would bang on his thymus. He just knew to do that.
He'd bang on his what?
He would bang on it. There's a right through here. This is your thymus.
Oh,
These
okay.
are tapping points, and then I realized, oh yeah, there's a lot of people who do that because those are important points. You're going to be doing this on this coming Wednesday.
Yes.
On my YouTube page, Natasha Venter.
Pardon?
Every Wednesday live like this on Natasha Venter's, and it's called Life Clarifications.
Life
Clarifications is what our theme is, and it's on Natasha Venter's YouTube page.
Natasha, okay. Yeah, because this is my biggest challenge these days, is figuring out how to get on things. Like, do you have a Zoom number?
You can just go onto
Is it gonna be the
YouTube
same
and
Zoom number?
We
no,
do.
it's
It is. You ready?
Oh.
Aren't you impressed that I
Yes.
have this right at my fingertips, right at the
Right.
tip of my tongue?
All right. You know what you're
910
doing. Yes.
372
910
372
372
6125.
6125.
And that's for anybody.
Oh,
If you
yeah, and
wanna- if you want to join and talk to us on the way we did this, it's kind of fun to do it this way.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people that I know who would love to talk to you guys. 910 372 6125. And that's 4 o'clock on Wednesday.
Pacific time. Yes, ma'am.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I know a whole tribe of people who would love to talk to you.
you don't want to talk to me, but might want to talk to her. So no, but that would be great. So to wrap it up for you, Nikaya, what was the overall experience like working with Regen for all that time, and what do you think that you got out of it?
Well, let's see. I got a destination. I got a purpose. I got a sense of self. I got a sense of wanting to move forward. I didn't have any of that. I was just wondering. I was kind of like splashing around in the pool, but I knew it was time to move further, but I didn't know how to get there. And it was the willingness that I had to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I met this person. I know him. And I'll just see what happens. And it came at the right time, but my mind didn't know that. So I had to jump over, the mind would put in barriers or whatever and get in the pool, and go swimming. So, and is this the same Zoom number for you too, Kevin, on what day is it? Next Monday or Sunday or whatever?
No, Sunday is a wholly different thing. That's actually on live radio. So, but Regan's got the, I'll tell you what, let me do this. You can, if you go to 1150kknw.com,
EKN?
1150kknw.com. And
So you mean King Nancy?
yes.
KingNancy.com.
Well,
Okay.
King Nancy William.com.
Okay. And that will.
And then there's a front page there and it says listen live. And you can listen from where you are on your computer.
Oh.
And you'll be able to call in if you choose.
Okay, so that's not a Zoom number attached to it.
That's not a Zoom number. This is a regular radio station. So it's a regular but we're going to be talking about bus driving and bus drivers and some kind of fun stories and
Oh,
stuff
we
like
have
that.
a friend who likes to chase buses. He's very into it.
He used to do what?
Chase
He,
buses.
he loves
You love to chase, but we don't want that guy running walking around us.
Bruno. What are you doing?
Oh, her dog,
A
yeah.
dog, yes. Well,
Bruno.
yes. Well, so I'm glad that you
There's
had
Bruno right there. See Bruno? Oh, he's that's on the screen. There's Bruno. He likes to chase buses.
Oh. Well, I'm glad that you had the opportunity to spend the time with Regen, and because I got to tell you, Natasha, I love your opinion on this, but I think we found a little bit of, I don't know, a 18 karat gold hunk of human down there. I think Regen is just pretty special.
Yep, I think so too.
Yeah.
can I
Definitely.
Yeah, David, go ahead.
You know, about your bus driver program. I did 3 years as an Uber driver. Is this going to be relevant to me?
It can be.
Okay.
You're anytime that you are messing around with people and you're driving people back and forth, and like you as an Uber driver driving somebody who's getting off or getting out of the bar at 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff, you've got to learn how to deal with people like that. And but it's your own personal car. See, when somebody throws up in my bus, a supervisor has to come clean it up.
Oh, you understand.
And I'm going to make this a disclosure too, that whoever watches this, even if it's even just working in like in convenience stores, it's about service, and we don't know who's going to walk in the door. We don't know what we're going to see, and a lot of these tools can be applied to just dealing with others. You know, there is, and yes, I would say bus drivers, riding the bus as much as I have, especially where I know that Kevin's, you know, people have are driving the bus, that they're in the traumas of the wars of the streets. You know, they've got people who are on drugs, and they have all these different scenarios that you have to deal with, and you're sometimes the only one on the bus that can deal with it, because you don't have, you know, like in a grocery store, you have coworkers that can come to your aid. You have supervisors. On the bus, you don't. In the Uber, you don't. You know, you have your own self that you've got to navigate through, and that adds another line of I don't want to call it defense, but it's lack of defense. It's a vulnerability that is. It's in the forest by yourself, you know, type of thing, and you don't know who's hunting you, and it's that fear of flight that's very wearing on the heart and the internal organs that navigate through that. So, like gallbladders, about emotions, and so a lot of people who have gallbladder problems have those emotions that get all gummed up. And usually they can't eat fats and stuff because they can't eat a lot of their emotional gummed up stuff in their lives. And so their gallbladder goes out, but they haven't stopped not dealing with their emotions. You know, it's like you have to learn to process things and navigate through things. And a lot of those scenarios come up when we are dealing with those fear of flight moments, and those things that just keep coming at you. You know, like you may had a stressful rider on, you know, an hour before, and then you see something through your window that reminds you of that moment, and then you have a double whammy of getting hit twice in that same hour or within that same shift, that you don't realize that same thing is hitting you here as that person that was on your bus.
Well, and then like I was telling Regen earlier, I'm on disability right now because I tore up my shoulder, and so which is a good thing because I don't want to go back to work doing that anyway. But a gentleman that was a good friend of mine that was 64, he retired at 64 and he was dead at 66. He died of a heart attack. And I know another lady that died on the way into work and she just had a heart attack and died. And another guy that went to bed and never got up because the stress of the situation is it's so hard, and unless you've done it, it really is a difficult thing. So that's why I want Regen to come on and do the tapping, because that can in a short-term stress situation can really make a meaningful impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What day is he doing the tapping?
That will be Sunday after 11 a.m. on KKNW, 1150 a.m.
Yeah, you know, we could do a show on all that we found about, like Natasha was saying, how the gallbladder's related to a certain thing. In the Dolores Cannon, that I'm getting my certification for now, in the quantum healing hypnosis technique, they have a whole list of things that they've found. You know, in other words, if you have a certain disease or a certain something on, you know, what part of the body is affected, or, you know, what the emotion is that's tied to that particular organ of the body. And that would be interesting, because a lot of people would be going, oh, you know, because they have a certain issue and they're trying to figure out what it is they need to let go of to fix that. As we're finding out and doing this quantum healing thing, is that on the other side, they'll tell you that every sickness, every ache and pain you have is somehow related to something going on in your mind, you know, some way of thinking, some way that you're not quite getting it in some area. And so you know, your body's manifesting a certain ailment, you know, to that. So that would be interesting sometime. Maybe we can even get another expert on that on here or something, and make a great show sometime.
And I also do a healing technique, which is Jinsu, that each finger represents a certain emotion and certain organs. And so you can even hold those, like this finger is about grief. And you can,
middle finger?
The ring finger.
The ring finger.
Like if you're going through grief, you just barely hold it and it just kind of supports you. And then this finger is really, these two fingers are the easiest to remember, because this one's about anger. So like if you're angry about something, or there's someone in the house that's angry at the same time, you lightly hold it, and it just kind of, like I tell people, it doesn't necessarily change your body, or it's not like the motion goes away instantly, but it helps the body kind of like move the wheel through. It just kind of keeps the body moving forward. And I can go into deeper. I don't have the paper here to exactly go with each organ and that kind of stuff, because I had something to do right before this. So my brain's not all the way there to deal with this, but you know, there's different things that you can do. But I'm going to say one thing. You put your hand inside of one or the other, and then you put your thumb kind of right where your lines are, and you grab, and you just hold like this. That's called harmony. Oh. And if you're really aligned with it, yes.
Like there?
Yes. So you're kind of like putting your hands like this, and then like you're putting it over, and then you're grabbing onto it like this.
Harmony.
It's called harmony. And if you're in tune with your body, and it's not like a tight hold, it's just a relaxing hold. And if you're in line with your body just kind of goes,
That's a good technique.
So you put your thumb in there. You're holding your thumb, huh?
Yeah, so it's like your palm is to the back of your hand, and then you putting your hand over. It's almost like this line here, and you're putting your thumb. Your thumb over that, and you're going like this. So you're just kind of holding it. But there's more, and I can go into this on Wednesday too. Actually, that would be a good thing to do on Wednesday. I could have that piece of paper and share my story with it.
Well, we could do the healing. We could do the healing thing next Monday as well, if you want to.
Yeah.
That would be good. I have a friend, and he can't seem to heal one of the fingers on his hand. So I will invite him to come to this on Wednesday. 910-372-6125. See, I should be a newscaster, right? Because I make sure that everybody knows what the Zoom numbers are.
Well, and two, we have a phone number that people can call in if they don't want to do the Zoom. That
would be great. What's your phone number?
206 408 1395.
So if they don't want to be on Zoom, they can just even call in if they have a question, or they can even put their questions in the comments on YouTube.
So Natasha, just a real question about the middle finger again. Okay, I kind of got stuck on the middle
That's
finger
anger.
thing.
That's anger.
Well, because I have found in the course of my life that sometimes when you're really angry, expressing yourself with the middle finger does seem to negate that stress just a little bit.
It does. It
Until
does.
until the other car stops and he gets out with a shotgun. That's probably
Yeah.
a good
No,
idea.
now, see, that's where I end up doing this instead of.
Oh, you internalize it rather than
No,
externalize it.
I process through it in a different. I've learned that sometimes my emotion doesn't need to be put on other people. So I don't necessarily internalize it. I process through it where I don't have to inflict other people with it.
Oh, very good. Sometimes inflicting
Wow.
other people with your anger is worth it. Just get.
Yeah, it depends on the story.
I'm just a kidding. I'm just a kidding. So, guys, we are coming to the end of our time together today, and Nakaya, it's been great fun having you here. You've been a really wonderful guest, David. Thank you for being here. It's been fun. Regen, I would love for you to give us your information and to tell us something more that we don't know.
Sure. Okay. For those who might like to visit the other side, in other words, go to heaven and back, it is now possible from the techniques used by the Newton Institute. You go into a deep state of relaxation, and from there, everybody seems to have this ability to go right to a past life, see themselves pass away, and then turn around and see who's there. And it's usually a guide or someone that's passed on from the other side, or somebody to kind of take you home. And we follow you there. You get to go there and go before council, ask questions about your life, visit people that have passed on, and a whole bunch of other things. And it's very easy to do. Who would have known it's this easy to do? We've had about 50,000 people do it so far. And I'm just surprised. It's about 84% of the people that come to us therapists are able to have the full experience. So you can get a hold of me at visittheafterlife.com, or you can go to the newtoninstitute.org, and they have a list of therapists all over in 30 different countries that can help you have this. And if you want to hear about my own personal experience of the 3 hours I spent in heaven, my book, 3 hours, 33 minutes in heaven, is available on Amazon and a bunch of other places. So that's it for me.
That's pretty cool. You even pointed at the right thing. I was impressed.
I know it's the opposite here, so I have to remember that it's the opposite.
Well done. It's like the weatherman. They don't really see anything, and they have to just guess where it everything.
Yeah.
But good job.
Yeah,
Good job.
yes.
Natasha?
You can. Before I do that, Nakaya, I wanted to going back to your Ferris wheel. Your guides are wanting you to say, take the perspective of what did that magic in that place show you? Because right now, life is about bringing the magic in, the innocence of childhood. So remember that keep that innocence of childhood and the magic, that you can create magic in just thinking it. So remember that magic that being there was all about. Okay.
Yeah. What I found about Nakaya is one of the best things she does is work with children. You know, she's a very good artist, and she's done a lot of things with children to teach, and she loves it. So that you might have hit on something there, Natasha.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I used to create storybooks with children, and they created better stories than we did.
See, and see, we thought maybe we were done with you, but apparently somebody on the other side wasn't. So I'm glad that.
Well, I had this a long time ago, and it kept tapping me to say something before we
I'm
left.
glad you did.
Yeah.
So I had to slip that in. So you can reach me at natasha@angelicclarifications.com or www.angelicclarifications.com is my website.
Angelica Clarification?
Angelic Clarifications.
Clarifa or Verifa?
Clarifications. Like you're clarifying something, you're clarifying life.
Okay, great. I have a couple of friends who would love to talk to you, and I'm going to tell them about this Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh yeah.
She really is quite remarkable.
Yeah, she does whole, hour sessions with people if they want, and records the whole thing too, right?
Yeah, I do it over Zoom, so I can do sessions over Zoom
Yeah.
or on the phone, or if somebody's local in person, if within the COVID guidelines and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh,
yes, thank you.
As a matter of fact, my son, he gets off work at 4:00 in the afternoon, so sometimes he'll call me on the way home, and he called me again today, and I put him on so that he could talk. He don't want to talk to Natasha anymore because she kind of undressed him, and so he was in his underwear, and it wasn't.
He wasn't prepared for me, I guess, and what I was discussing with him.
Well, and he certainly doesn't want to see he doesn't want his old man to see him in his underwear. That's between the two of them. If they're in a room alone, they can talk about those deep things, but he doesn't want me to know about it. So
No. There was a couple things that I could have told him, but I didn't want to. It wasn't for his father to know.
I think I read a story about that in Chicken Soup for the Soul. It was almost the exact same story about this kid running around with no clothes on.
Yes, indeed. And Jack Canfield does a wonderful job with those books.
Great books.
He's awesome. You know him? Wow. Ooh.
I've got some of the CDs for the chicken, for the music, and it really is quite remarkable. So I recommend that you get. But before you get that book, you got to get Regen's book because it's right over there, and he can point to it again, maybe. There you go.
Look at that right there.
I want to see that book. I love that book. I fell asleep with that book last night. I woke up with it this morning.
Oh, good. It gets you to know a little bit more about my journey, which is great.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Well, it's awesome, and we're going to continue to do this. So, make sure you tell your friends that they can come and talk to us, and we'll put you through what I'm beginning to get the impression that I did a show years ago, and I had a human behavioral therapist, a astrologer, and a sound healer. And they were all there together, and then we would take calls. And I called it the psychic car wash. I'm beginning to get the impression that that's where we're.
I love it.
With this little thing. So they can take you and give you a good washing of things. So
We need it. That's beautiful. That is so wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing is going to be Wednesday. And this is what they do on the news broadcast. They always do this. They announce everything so people can find their pencil and their paper. Wednesday at 4 p.m. Life verifications with Natasha Venter.
That's correct. And that one you can get on. You can either call in at 408. 206-408-1395, or you're special, so you can actually get on Zoom if you want to.
Exactly. And Zoom is 910-372-6125 for those of us who like Zoom.
Correct. And we would love to host you to do that. Would be fun. Natasha, anything before we go? Any last thoughts?
Just remember that no matter what's happening in your life, that sometimes, and I even include my mother and father passing away in this statement, that things are here to help us and be here for us, and that trust this process that we're going through. And I'm hoping and praying that you know that you're loved through this process of what are we really supposed to learn from this holiday season, making the choices that we're having to. So just know you're loved and that you are not alone. You have angels, guides, and even some loved ones from the other side that are sitting with you as you eat.
And even if you have to eat alone.
Even if you have to eat alone in the physical form, you're definitely not alone in the spiritual form.
like I think I've mentioned it before, the gospel according to Rocky, which was Adrian said, because her brother threw out the turkey for Thanksgiving. She said, but Rocky, it's Thanksgiving. And he said, I don't know, for you it's Thanksgiving, for me it's Thursday. So for me, this Thursday is Thursday, because I'll be, COVID has us by the, what, and we have to be careful.
Yeah.
So in any event, Regen, any last thoughts?
No, I think good show today. Thanks for calling in, Nikaya and David. And David, I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Oh, and you're going to be there on the show on Wednesday, Regan?
No, this is Natasha's own show that she's doing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Tell your friends and everything too, because it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think so.
I show up. It's not necessary, but I just keep showing up. It's like a bad penny.
You keep our heads rolling in the right direction.
I would agree with that statement.
I hope everybody, you guys have a great day and enjoy yourself. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. If we don't talk to you before, be good.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Regan.
See
Yeah.
you guys later.
Hey,
Is David going to see you on Friday? This Friday or
you
next
can
Friday?
receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other, because each other is all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.
Yahoo!